Asenivusele maswahla amahle sinivusele benkosilenhle nalamuhla kuloko elihlelo Embili kanye libito lami ngingiJohn ngokaPhirezi Sibongo kwinfokodo lenkulu maswahla amahle ukuthi siphindze ke sidibane kuloko elihlelo nanamuhla lapho sitawukhulumisa khona ke tindzaba lethi sakhako ke singemaswati lesikholelwa ukuthi ke titali iqhuba ke live ukuthi likwadi ke ukuchubekela ke Embili kanye siyathemba ukuthi nibuya khona ke masonveni you are refreshed and relaxed and especially looking ahead into the new week kanti ke sibonile ke vikini deliphelile maswahla amahle la sikhulumisa ke indzaba yemsebenzi ke lomcoka kakhulu umsebenzi ke we made in Eswatini campaign letaba khona ke mhla ka 25 noma ke bekathi khona ke mhla ka 25 kuyo ke inyanga lesetulo lokho ngumsebenzi ke nanawo ke lomuhle kakhulu lokhombisa ukuthi ke emaswati akabambane abenza wonye akwadi ke kwesekelana etindzabende ukuthi ke imikhicito whether be services or products elakhiwe ke lapha ekhaya ke Eswatini akabe recognized and also have an opportunity for a market internally lokho ke sikwenda ngenhloso ukuthi ke the local economy circulate from amongst us as a Maswati and also to minimize what we are bringing from outside the country kanti ke sinako ke lokukhona ke ekhaya ke Eswatini kulona muhla ke hlelo maswahla amahle la sikhulumisa ke indzaba lethinza kakhulu ke abantu labasha niyawukhumbula ukuthi ke ngiyabona kumbe inyanga yinye nibatimbili sike sahlangana nebantu labasha labatiwa ukuthi ke i discipline camp Eswatini babuyile ke namhla ke basivakashele la ikakhulu kati ke ngenhloso ukuthi ke kwaba khona ke umsebenzi loba wadinga ukuthi ke i parent seminar abakathi bahlangane khona ke nebatali babo ke bantwana because ukukhulisa umntwana umntwana uyatikhulela umphakudla umphe shelter the basic needs basically but umntwana udinga umtali udinga isociety kuze ukuthi akhule kahle basivakashele ke namhla la sifuna nje kuva ngalomsebenzi bakathi ke bawuqhuba wayo ke i parent seminar loba wathi banjelo ke embabane lokuhle kakhulu ke ngalomsebenzi namuhla ukuthi i discipline camp icalo ke lijale lathiwa ukuthi ngoPrince Motlo from the Republic of South Africa who is presently who is in our studio with us today to discuss ukuthi ngabe lithini ke liphupho layo ke discipline camp iqhuba njani ke bomakhelwane eNingizimu Afrika ukuthi lithini liphupho layo ekhaya ke Eswatini as a first branch ye discipline camp in the Republic of South Africa ngicela ke kubethula amaswahla amahle namuhla la founder wayo ke discipline camp in the Republic of South Africa and also visiting us here in Eswatini Prince Motlo. A very good evening, my brother, and a warm welcome to our studios here today.
Thank you so much, Perez. Good evening.
Thank you so much for coming through. How are the people of Eswatini treating you so far? And I understand you've got a couple of days since you've been here now.
It's always a pleasure. It feels like home. The people are so nice, very kind, and like I said, it's a great country, and I enjoyed traveling it around.
We are good to hear your positive feedback about how you're being treated in Eswatini. Kuna national coordinator wa discipline camp ekhaya Eswatini maswahla amahle la nguMakhanya bekatha khona ke Simanga Makhanya so ngomnyama bokhona ngalela langa sikhulumisa lendzaba sikhulumisa nje indzaba ukuthi nenda ini masikhuluma se discipline camp how is it intended to transform the lives of young people, and I'm happy that you've brought in the founder today and as a testimony that you need to reinforce or you are reinforcing the operations and the programs of the discipline camp. Ngicela kuphathuba so ngomnyama uphenza uvusele maswati namuhla.
Ngibonga lithuba Mr Perez ngivusele enzambama ngivusele babukele ekhaya njengoba bengithembisile ukuthi vele ngidawuboya kubuya kwami kopha bengishida ukuthi angeke ngihambe ngefa ndabe ngihamba naye umphathi wami Mr Motlaw lo khona namuhla ensambama kanye nathi kutawuchazela lamanye maswati la khona la noma abatali lebe bakhona kuyo umhlangano wethu lebe sinawo lesikubita ukuthi parent seminar idolo kunyenti ke lokwendekile kuleyo mhlangano Mr Perez kepha ke umphathi nanamuhla utabachazela abatali ukuthi bomcoka ngani yini lemcoka noma yini imbangela yayo le parent seminar lebe sinayo idolo.
Yeah, ngike ngakhuluma naye just a short conversation and I'm sure uke wanaka nje sicoca lokho ukuthi I discipline camp iqale eSouth Africa seyikhona ke la ekhaya Eswatini ngithi angive ngaye ke Prince Hlola ukuthi ikhona ini discipline camp kulamanye mave uthi no it's only Eswatini so far ngifuna ke ukubuyisa kuwe Makhanya ngalokuthi ifika vele la eSwatini discipline camp nawe kungazi ukuthi khona sandla lo wasifaka which is something that we need to appreciate. Just tell us briefly about how a discipline camp came into existence in Eswatini.
Ngibonga lithuba Mr Perez njengobe nginemphathi nje la Mr Prince Motlaw I discipline camp yafika kwabaliphupho nami lebe ngihlede ekhaya ngibona njengoba ngibona etingcingweni ngabona le page labo ka TikTok lokwangenda ukuthi ngaba interested ukuthi yathi nami nginayo lenkinga lengibhekene nayo le esengizama ukuba approacha at first kwakuzange kuba melula nganginelivalo ngithi awu angeke bayithathe bemelula imessage yami noma ngingababhalela nje batovele bayibypass babuka eceleni kepha ke umsebenzi wasimakathe uhambe uhlanganise tinto kwakhanzakala ukuthi leyo message bayayinaka bayaresponda bathi mabaresponda baba like yes siyeta vele sitawufisa kutakangwane but before sitakangwane Mr Perez sitawuqale sibe nemhlangano nani nisinibuke kucala njengoba nje kungumthetho wethu ukuthi before usebenze la kule organization Mr Perez kumele ube ngathini ube personality level ihambisane nema values ethu noma ube ngumuntu lotoqale ungene la kule camp kucala ube disciplined nawe so sababhalela ke Mr Perez babe beta kangwane baqala nje ngiyakhumbula la 2024 masito bane camp Mr Perez basithatha basise emlilwane nathi sakufo ukuthi sendiwani la sabona sigicitwa phasi amangalo uthi hayibo yile lesendiwayo la kanzi asathi lo ukuthi lebe basenda kona ngiko lokusende sibamfu namuhla ngiko lokusende sikhona ukuthi nathi sisite lenye insha lekhona kangwane letsinga lelisito Mr Perez
nosiyabonga kakhulu kuyabonakala ukuthi khona iprogress le yendakalako I just want to talk to you Mr Motlo about how you founded this organization and I need to give you an opportunity to speak to the Maswati today so they understand and appreciate the founding principles of the discipline camp. How did it start about in South Africa long before Kanye approached you to say, can you come and do the same thing in Eswatini?
Yes. Rising Stars has started by a vision. And I did not just start this with my own understanding. What I saw youth doing great. I saw a well-disciplined youth led by us in my leadership. And when I started this, it became a great vision on me. And we established it on 2019, but the vision was born in 2018. Hence we say our organization started in 2018. By the time when I see the youth led by the organization achieve greater things, we start using arts to capture these kids. Every kid wants to be a star. And God gave them a talent to live with it. So our organization drilled the talent. But then when we're doing poems, drama, every weekend, there's classes of drama,
in
poetry.
your community?
In my community, yeah.
Okay.
There's drama, poetry, all these things.
Where exactly in South Africa? Where is that province?
Pretoria and Atteridgeville. There's a school that we use to do this. It's called Edward Patudi High School. It's a very great school. It's been supporting us ever since to do these things. Every week, Fridays and Saturdays, the kids are coming to us to do that. But then the problem was discipline. I couldn't stand seeing my kids going down, smoking cheerful, smoking happily, disrespecting their parents, coming home late. We get these complaints from the parents. They say, Prince, your kids are doing 1, 2, 3. I was like, how come? Then it is when I see clearly that now I need to do a camp and I call it discipline camp. Trust me. Then it's when Rising Stars began. That there must be a way to transform these kids into great leaders. A few years ago, I did my camp using Scouts, using Scouts laws to do the camp. I did the camp. I named it Discipline Camp. I pushed it on social media. I didn't open this for public. I was doing this for the kids, my kids. There were about 30 kids that I took there. Out of my pocket, paid the transport, paid food. I didn't want anybody to pay anything. Parents came and donated there and then, and I made it for 5 days. And I used, we don't want to say military style, but I took some of their aspect and make it a culture. When I say attention, they say yes, sir. They needed to learn. I took them back where they need to ask before they speak. You need to ask before you go to toilet. You need to ask whatever that you say, so you don't jump into conclusions. I teach them respect. How did I do that? First, I need to test their temper. by taking through them in the mud. You are a child, you play, you get yourself dirty, yes. You are not like a senior, trying to make yourself as an adult, trying to teach yourself as an adult while you are young. You are in the bush, nobody's there, let's get in. So I had to force discipline in the kids because why? They needed the discipline, And the discipline was not about the punishment, being corporal, being violent. No. I shout because I'm in the camp, there's no mics. And I shout because I need kids to be firm. I need to look firm. I need to gain their respect, and they need to respect me, not forcefully, but they need to see me being a right mentor to them. Our programs, so we just give them a program to run. Everything in the camp is designed to change their mindset. From waking up early in the morning, going to the woods and chop wood. There are no stoves in our camp. They must chop wood and make a fire from the ground, and they make their own breakfast. Do you understand?
Using that fire. Yes. I need you to affirm what he's saying, because when you approached the Rising Stars, which is now the discipline camp,
yes.
Are these some of the things that he's highlighting here now, are these some of the things that you had to go through as part of your preparation, as your training, to sort of being tested to see whether you are disciplined young people or not?
Ngibonga ithuba Mr Phelezi umphathile la kukhulumako kuliciniso yimvo nathi lesenza kiyo njengoba bengichazile ukuthi ngathuka ukuthi ngentiwani kahle kahle lana banga understand ngibona ukuthi awu asigecike phasi kuthiwa azigene lathakeni ngiyasho ngithi yini lento ayizuza lathakeni ngishobele ke nami nebalingani bami sishobele sithi masicetha lapho kuthiwa awu asambe sofuna tinkuni kuyendeka ukhanza ukuthi le tinkuni tati khona lemlawula but ke asidinaki leto kudzingeka letetfu lesitigawulile letinemandla yethu sathi masicetha kotilanze kwathiwa basanomlilo Mr Phelezi kukhona emajali benginawo ke le ndasi masisacela kutrainer lafunza nawo ukupheka lesasidwa ngeyo yona le organization ngoba labanye bamfu bebangakwadi kupheka but kwakho sothi umuvu aqala umlilo nami nje kwangihlobo lengingakwadi ukucala umlilo ungathi ukuthi ucalwa kanjani yabo ngafike ngafunza lapha Mr Phelezi icala umlilo kodwa asigcinanga lapho Mr Phelezi le training yethu noba yabe siyahamba sesifika khona ehovisini lelikhulu eSouth Africa lapho khona safike sesiyoceceshwa khona kwekugcina ukuthi sitabe sesiyakhona nathi kubuye eveni sitawusita wona eMaswati Mr Phelezi
cha kuyevakala. You were taking us through how it started with the initial 30, that you realized were lacking discipline, were disrespectful to their parents and so on and so forth, Let's talk about how that program seemed to have transformed the lives of those people. How are those young people now compared to that time before you took them to that discipline camp?
Okay, so I need to be honest with you on this. Kids are not the same. They're not from the same background. They're not from the same environment. And they are not the same mentality. Their mindset is different. Most of the kids does transform. And but some of the kids, they don't. Some of the kids come to us broken. They've been 4 or 5 years smoking without parents knowing.
What do you mean broken?
Broken, meaning that they spend a lot of time smoking without parents knowing. They've been doing this for long, stepping each other, swearing, using vulgar words. Everything that they know is negative. Every positive thing they tell it negative. That is how broken the kids are. They come hardcore, knowing violence. When they come to us, when I say for the first time, attention, they just look at this guy. This fat guy we see on TV. How dare he come here and do that? We get this one called Minangi Adam. All the animals come to me. You can't do anything. To tell you the truth, I don't know how I do it, but the minute when I come to you and speak to you, you seem to understand. When I come to a child and speak to a child, they can fight to all my instructors, yes, but when I come and speak to a child, they tend to listen to me. You understand? I think I started to believe that this is a vision from God. Because when I speak to these kids, there's a way of doing it. There's no formula on that. It is just like God takes over. When I speak to a child, see how wrong these things are and show them a real way. And, surprisingly, they see the way. You understand? But then I realized that it's a law. These are young people, these are kids. Proverbs 22 verse 6 says, train up a child in the way they should go, for when they grow up, they will not forget. About 80% of the kids, they're doing well because we get good feedback from them, from the parents. After that the camps is doing well. And even on social media, even on our comments, if you can check, there are those parents who are thanking us each and every time for their kids. We were stopped by the policeman there. We just had an incident. The policeman who was taking our report was showing us the child of their kid's picture, that my child was there. And he was so happy to see us. He even took pictures with us and shows that my child today is doing well.
Because of how the program helped transform their lives.
Yes.
Yeah. Principal, thank you so much. We're just going to take a quick break. Sehlelweni maswahla mahle la sikhulumisa ke indzaba yabantu labasha lesifuna ke kuva namuhla ukuthi batali bona ngoba mangabe siseqinisweni sifuna ke kwakha lelive ukuthi labantu labasha njengoba ke siva ingane lebanayo noma kumbe kulimala lebanako futhi ngandlela thide netinto letinenge letibenda kumbe ukuthi ba behave in the manner in which they are doing, including the abuse of substance which they do behind their parents' back. Bangasitwa ke kanjani ukuze kuthi ke singa bangasilahlekeli ke silive basathingeka njengedinombolo letawukhona ke kukhicita umnotho di improve ke i-social livelihood and well-being of the kingdom of Eswatini. Sitakunya mathe bese siyabuya masinyane maswahla mahle.
Dive into a thriving and diverse art scene. Simply follow our hosts in Artsy Africa.
Come with me.
6 African cities, so many voices. What attracted me was the large canvas for expression. These artists are reshaping how we see contemporary art. Artsy Africa.
Have a look.
The vibrant series on DW.
This is my first time here.
Hopefully it's my last.
My dear friends, here we are, all in our true colors. Your transfer papers, your key to the Mvule kingdom.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I know.
Here are your clippers. Clippers.
Who's in? We are perfect. We run this place. So let's act like it.
Solomon, the head prefect, quick. Is my collar straight?
We'll be out of Mvule High before you can pronounce the word scholarship.
We have a mystery to solve. The only way we can make a difference is if we stick together. When I'm head prefect, each and every student will have a voice.
You need to show that new squeak in Mvule.
I hate this school.
Kunesisho ke le ngiyengisive nje basikhuluma ke bantu ngesilumbi la ngesiswati lesisho ukuthi kude ke dustbin la kulahlwa khona ke umuntu. There is not dustbin where you can just dispose of a human being. Lokusho ukuthi ke umntwana ikakhulu kade ke bathi mabasakhulu babe naleto dinginganyana nje ubona ke lokho ukuthi maye lo mfana soyahlupha ukhanza komntali sekathi hawu sengumkhiphile enhlitweni angisamfuni nabaze babacoshe nekubacosha ke emakhaya sibacoshela abani sibalahlela abani ngoba noma sithi ke bahulumende sithi hulumende akabendeni kulamalanga nje kwanze kakhulu indzaba ye gangsterism kwanze kakhulu indzaba ye substance abuse, and you see a lot of young girls getting into teenage pregnancies and all those kind of activities, young men who indulge in sexual activity knowing very well they do not have the capacity to take care of the young girl whom they have impregnated and also the child that is going to come out of that sexual relationship. And I think those are some of the issues the last thing corner where we need to help parents, you know, to deal with these issues. You know, they give up so easily. Hence, the parents' seminar which you conducted.
Yes.
Let's talk about that seminar.
Okay. So the reason this is going to be the second. This is going to be the first seminar we'll be doing. In South Africa, we had parents' camp. Then now, because we saw that a lot of parents are not participating in parents' camp, then we're doing it a seminar, a one-day seminar. We're trying to pack our program. So this is one of the reasons that you can show that parents bring their kids to us. but they don't want to show up when it's their turn. So this takes me back that parents are the ones, they also have a hand in their kids' behavior. Looking at the parenting department, when we see babies, when we see girls with babies, boys with guns, the crime that you're speaking of, the teenage pregnancy, this is not a problem. These are symptoms that something else is wrong. Looking at parenting department, where these kids come from, they are fatherless. Where are their father? God created family to secure society. If family is broken, the world is in trouble, kids are in danger. A parent, a child, and a father is there to reprimand the child. When a father says, when God says, train up your child in a way they should go, when they grow up, they'll not depart from it. It's a law and a promise. But I need you to take a word, took a look at the word train. When I did the research on the word train, a train is a train, you know a train. But the train is not that long thing. No. You will realize that a train is only the one that has an engine. That part, that front part that has an engine. Any other things, they are called cars. But the train is that thing. You will realize that those cars are following the train. So where the train goes, the cars go. So when a father does something wrong, drinking and smoking in front of their kids, they will become. When you are a parent, you need to be careful of what you say, what you do, especially in front of your child. If you are not hospitable, if you take bribes, if you are gossiping, if you're not doing well, if you are unkind, that energy is going to be transferred to your kids. If you are a father of 2 kids and you leave them and go start a family somewhere else, those kids are going to grow up without a father. When they do something wrong, who's going to tell them how bad they are? Who's going to be there emotionally? Because God says kids are born with foolishness abound to their heart. It is parents who need to correct them, even with the rod. A parents who fail to discipline their kids at the young age is helping their kids to die.
Yeah, you are bringing up an important, and I think I'll come back to you, Masinyane Makanya. You are bringing up a sort of controversial issue now, where you are saying, if need be, you need to discipline them, even using a rod, a stick, And now we are living in a society with a lot of laws that restrict or prohibit the use of corporal punishment on kids, How can parents balance that up, Because I remember growing up back in the day, when elders find us doing something wrong in the streets, they had all the rights to reprimand us, And depending on what we were doing, they could even take up a stick and beat us, but not anymore, which is why you see a lot of young kids today, a boy and a girl kissing public in the streets, drinking and smoking, and you can't even do nothing about it, How can we restore that in our society?
So I need you to be careful on this. A lot of parents, they became very angry as this disrespect and fatherlessness started to be a thing. Lots of men lost their ways. They left their houses for whatever the reasons, and this became a lot of kids became rebellious, and a lot of parents had to use the rod until it turned into abuse. That is why a country would limit it, but it killed it because they haven't studied the consequences. When you start to say this is not allowed, in a way, parents must be firmly when they address the issue. Parents must actually prevent kids to be rebellious from the young age. So what do you do to a baby, a child, let me say 5 years old, who just came home late or who just stole or smoked a cigarette? You can't talk to a child one-on-one. Of course, sometimes you need to spank a little, but that mustn't be out of anger. Do you understand? This needs to show how firm you are, to show that you must never do this in a way. Parents use the rod out of anger. That is not allowed. I'm not saying beating a child is allowed, but then you need to have a sense of love, because God says it is love to give them a rod, and it is hate not to. Do you understand? If you give them with anger and hatred, that is completely out of law. That is not what God says.
Yeah.
You understand? You need to tell your child that you love them, and this is wrong. I'm not angry, but this is nonsense.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
But I think you are quite right, you know, and inkumbi yalabantwana njengoba sisho emakhaya la, they are born into broken families, you know, where the mother is not there or the father is not there, you know, or both of them are not there, and only the grandmother must raise or even a relative must raise this child, you know, and which is something that becomes a problem, you know. And how can we, according to you as a young person, you know, because these kids then become angry, you know, they smoke because I don't have a father, my father left me, and so on and so forth, you know, and they do all these kind of things, bullying other children and so on and so forth, you know. What can you say to them in terms of transforming, and how you think they can stand a chance to live a better life, perhaps if they became part of the discipline camp?
Ngibongela ithuba Mr Perezi, lengingakusho nje kwekuqala ukuthi lesimo lababhekene naso asicali ngabo futhi asigcini ngabo. Bakahle ke noba mina nami ngilomuntu locishe lo ke waba kule situation labakiyo. Lo
ngiphi le situation makhaya asingayibekisi ya
singayibhekisi sikhulume sengithi nami ngilomuntu noma ngile youth late babe lo washona noma bekasaphila but bokude lo bekanganani lo bekakwenda empilweni bengiwangivuka nabogogo nabomake. So lengingakusho ukuthi luchinjo licala kuwo ungumumvu ukuthi wena ufuna lisito kangakanani. Akusho lo ukuthi as long as usebuke leyo situation lemelambi kwakho kwanyalo noma leyo ndzaba lemelambi kwakho kwanyalo akumele ucabangele ugcine lapho, but kumele ubuke ngale kwalendzaba ukuthi yini lele ngale kwalendzaba, yini lele ngitayizuza ngale kwalendzaba Mr Perez. Lokusho ukuthi lawo mathuba lavelako umuntu lomusha noma umfana akawabambe ngato tandla totimbili ukuthi I can do better, I can still manage to overcome that situation lengibhekene nayo noma the hardship lekhona. Kuba bete babe noma kuba bete batali akusho ukuthi impilo yami sekumele igcine lana. Yini lengayenda mina ngidawuzama ini ukuthi ngizame ukuchinja le situation la khaya. Akuqale ngami la khaya nangabe le khaya kumele kube ne-millionaire, kumele kuqale ngami. I have to be different.
Yeah, but I think he's touching on something that connects to part of the things that transpired during the parent seminar, the issue of attitude, you know. It is easy for a young person to give up simply because they are saying, I was neglected, you know, I was not being taken care of, you know, I was abused and so on and so forth, you know. How can we restore young people to proper, positive, constructive attitude?
The program, Discipline Camp. Because that's where we get a chance. You know, the thing is, it is stated that it is, according to our analysis, I have discovered, you take a child away from the city, you put them in a bush, however troublesome they are, the energy and the energy that from the cities get deposited on the ground. They sleep on the floor in the camping tents. They have time to think of their life. There, for as family as we address them, they don't have time to actually think of anything that is wrong once they are in our laws. And we make them aware that you are here not to do nonsense. So their body turns into a survival mode. They have to give us an ear to actually listen to them. So it is when we feed them with positive information. If we were terrorists, I'm telling you, if we took these kids at that side and we feed them wrong information, they'll become very good at being bad. But the good thing is that we take the kids in the bush, we teach them positiveness. That is why they are changed. Even their parents are so surprised when a child comes to them and apologizes. My child never apologized to them. They'll tell me that my child never apologized to me. But we teach them apology. It will be wrong of a parent not to accept a child's apology. You know, the rootedness of parents, how they address the issue. That is why the seminar is so important. Parents need to learn how to use kind words to their kids. You know, if your child can't add or multiply, you can't say my child is stupid. We just had an incident there, but back in South Africa, a parent was complaining that his kids, her kids, has gone back to smoking after coming to camp. And he said that my other 2 kids are doing well, are successful, but this child is not doing well. Already you are comparing your child with your other kids, and you're saying this child, not saying my child. Already there is a neglect. Some parents are not fair on these kids. If your child cannot be a social worker, it cannot be a politician or a lawyer, but your child may be good in dancing, may be good in soccer play.
And you need to support them.
You need to support them. You can't say there's no jobs in soccer play, there's no jobs in whatever.
Discourage the child in what they are doing.
Then your child will never be that motivational speaker or the best dancer in the country or the best actor, because they want profession, they want their teacher to be a principal. And that which is not possible. Your child was born a leader.
Prince, thank you so much. We are going to take a quick break. My main worry about young people in particular, whether or not we transform them, how do we deal with the issue of them being unemployed, you know? It's better for those that are in tertiary institutions after high school, but for those who are school leavers and who are graduates without employment, how can we help them? Because we can take them and put them in the discipline camp, but how do we sustain their good behavior by giving them productive activities? Is this program taking into account such issues? We are going to take a quick break and come back in a short while.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.za. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.za.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba research bafunze. Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita nokusebenzisa.
Sikhuluma ke indzaba yebatali bebantwana lo sokhanza ukuthi kumbe sebaqaleke imikhiba le umntali eva ngazuthi lokhu angisakhona kulomntwana umntwana uyavilapha umntwana udisrespectful umntwana wenda ke imikhiba lefaka khathi ke kunatha kubhema nekungabi nje khona ekhaya kumbe kusebenza imisebenzi yakhona ekhaya umenda njalo loyo mntwana loyo lelibandla lengihleti nalo maswathi lamahle la ngilithandziswa ngiloko ukuthi lihlanyela ke bantwana labathi mabasawutholile ke lo moya lomuhle bakwathi ke ukukhuluma nalabanye bantwana kumbe ke singalakha le living ukuthi kumbe bathole bangani from within circles that have been trained to appreciate the values that our parents expect out of their children. Ngile mikhuba lena emakhanya lesikhulumako namuhla lokho ukuthi nebatali bathukuthela kakhulu batali la ekuthenini umntwana kumbe ngiyabokisa soyabhema soyanatha disrespectful angati ke le disrespect ukuthi isuka kuphi lokuthi umuntu uthi umtele agcina sekacabana nawe ungibaba wakhe noma kumbe unguma kwakhe, you know, and some parents feel very bad about this because they do everything for their children, but these kids are still disrespectful because of the associations they have from school, from society, and so on and so forth, you know. What is your experience about disrespectful young people who are not cooperating with their parents, and what can you say to parents whose children are now at that stage of life, you know, disrespecting their parents, lazy, not doing anything, and how can we assist these ones to come back to life and to being valuable members of their families and the society?
Angibonge lithuba Mr Perez njengoba umphathi bese kachazile nje ukuthi liphilisi noma itreatment yako lomkhuhlane lodlangelela abamfana ekusita abatali ngiyo yona idiscipline camp leta sibambisa kwana nathi sibamvula basha kepha kwekhuta nje lomhlolo noma kwekhuta lo monakalo localwa ngilabamfana kungahloniphi Mr Perez cishe siyakwati la khaya kithi Eswatini ngokuthi kungahloniphi kusilandzele emabhadi imvu yokucala nje lekhona le nelibhayibheli lasifakazela ukuthi asihloniphe uyihle nenyoka ukuze insuku tethu titawanza kepha wena mawungumvu lomusha utitshela ukuthi uyati ungahloniphi babo wakho nama kwakho kungako Mr Perez sitawana na-info ile siyibita ngokuthi premature death mawuthi uthatha kubuka Mr Perez siyafa sibamvula abasha is not ukuthi sibulawa yini but sibulawa bulima bethu ngekuthi sithi masenta timvo sithi siyati kanza sathi lo
kungena etinkingeni lengabe awukangeni
lo ngabe awutangeni kito Mr Perez kungibekise nje kuvuka ebusuku ekhaya uphume ngelifastela uthatha imoto yasekhaya uphume uhambe nebangani bakho ukhanze ukuthi senithola ingodi yemoto kufe wena wethu labanye basinze kube ulalela umntalo wakho wahlala ekhaya wangaphumi walwa nalokulwa leyo decision leyo peer pressure wathi hayi mana ngihlala ekhaya mina nginzayo
possibly even the issue of suicides, which we have seen escalate amongst young people, is caused by the disconnect or the detachment of young people to their families.
Kunjalo Mr Perez ikakhulu nje lama suicides leswabonako endeka kakhulu futhi la kulama university ethu la khona even la kaNgwane angathi lo ukuthi lenkinga lelapho uthi mawubuka uthulanzelela ukhanze uthi lenkinga isuka ekhaya Mr Perez because I feel like ngazuthi umvana nje wasuka ekhaya noma esikoleni waya enyuvesi batali bese bayamlahla Mr Perez to the point yokuthi bese akasathi ukuthi utawukhuluma nabani kungako ke thina sithi sasikhona Mr Perez sitaselula lesandla ngesigcine la tikolweni phela ke pastor selula lesandla sifike nalapha kuma nyuvesi because in the near future njengoba besachazile umphathi ukuthi star ema program lamanye akhona nathi sifisile ukucala na iprogram laba ibitha ngekuthiwa yiNet not at education not at education na training and employment so ngasho ukuthi iprogram lesitayicala leyo naba bamfana labangafunzi phinze labangakasebenzi phinze labangakaqeqesheki sinawo ema courses la khona recently nje kuleli viki leliphelile Mr Perez besibitiwe baka Eswatini National Youth Council ngokuthi a provide emaswati ngema TVET courses ukuthi buyani maswati nifunza umsebenzi wetandla lawo mathuba lawo sifuna ukuthini ngathini sifake amandla sinikede iyouth yethu yakangwane ukuthi bambani lamathuba lawo babe busy ngasamthing because lokunye lokube inkinga Mr Perez ngilesikhathi uyabona umuntu lomusha makane isikhathi lesinyendi manje lama decision la wathatha kola affecta impilo yakhe so sifuna ukuthi umuntu lomusha Mr Perez ngazi ukuthi lesikhathi sakhe singaba sincane but kusebenze kakhulu lengcondo
sekabuya khona
discipline camp
yes their parents as we speak Motlol who have broken relationships with their children, you know, they've given up because the child has been wayward for so long, you know, they are not talking and they are not taking responsibility. The child sees what they eat, they come in at night, go to their room, sleep, go out in the morning, you know. Can that relationship be restored? How can it be restored?
So parents seminar and discipline camps brings them together. That is why we see a video of them hugging.
Reconciling.
So it gives them a second chance. Number one, we have a strong talk with how important parents are. We have a very strong talk with the importance of parenting, with the importance of parents there with these kids. And then we give them hardship to experience life without your parent. How bad we make it worse so that they can experience life without a parent. Then when you see your mother first sight, you have to be on your attention, on your salute, until your mother comes and touch you. There you need to apologize. And then before, we had a small time with the parents and we let them know that your kids now, you have a second chance. You need to become friends with your kids, but don't take nonsense. Like this, God is our father, but he wants to be our friend, isn't it? That's what the Bible says. So they are the parents, but you must become friends with your kids. Don't take nonsense. If your child don't want to watch the dishes, you must make sure that you implement that very silent. But then, however, you need to make sure that you are there emotionally. Sometimes kids don't feel right. There are those kids, sometimes they just don't feel right. They get bullied, they get emotional blackmail, whatsoever.
Yeah, they are vulnerable in so many ways, yeah.
Of course, yeah. So then they can't sit down and speak with their parents because the parents are not hospitable. Why don't these kids stay at home? They don't like staying at home because the home is not yellow.
The parents are claiming that they are going through a lot themselves, you know. So they don't have the time to be babysitting grown-up boys like this, maybe, and things like that, you know. But this is causing a problem in our society, yes.
When it comes to your family, family comes first before your problems. When it comes to a family, family was, like I told you, family is meant to secure society. Your work, when you go to work, you're coming to work for your kids. If you lose your kids, then you'd rather not go to work. Who are you working for? Do you understand? Family comes first. You need to make sure that you take care of your family, secure it, make security, make sure that they are fine before you can go do other things. You'd rather lose your job, but then your family needs to be right. You'd rather be poor and stay here than to be rich with a broken family. Do you understand? So parents need to take family very serious because it is the only thing that keeps them alive. It is the only thing that keeps them strong. It is the only thing that is close to their happiness. That is why parents get frustrated when a child becomes rebellious. Sometimes kids run away from home because of what the home is not hospitable. The parents are not speaking to the kids. They're not even making jokes, making laughs. They don't go out. They don't go as a family. They don't have good meal. You know, they're fighting with each other. That's why kids go out and have fun on street than in home, because in home there's no fun. They don't have fun. There's no soccer. They don't play.
Just a last one and a quick one before we close. My worry and my concern, and it should be the concern of these parents, that my kid is probably not going to be found doing this, you know. Yeah. It is the lack of productive activity that needs to be keeping them somewhere productive and not to indulge in this kind of activities. How is the program planning to evolve and to accommodate, giving them opportunities to be part of economic activity, to become productive, you know, because we can take them to the discipline camp, but if they are going to come back and stay at home, go and see their friends by the shop, stay with them, and they are smoking, they are not smoking, eventually they will relapse. How is this program going to support them eventually?
So the organization have dreams, have goals, and for that to implement, we need the support of Eswatini. We can't do it alone. So our future plan. Remember these kids, some of these kids that works for us, some of the instructors, they were kids from our camp. Do you know that? Then we employ them to come work. So the bigger we grow, the more employment we need to produce. We need admin at the office. You understand? We need the treasurer, we need that, we need bookkeeper, we need those people. So these are the kids. The very same kids are going to be the instructors. We train them to become instructors, to teach other kids respect, to teach other kids the program. So the program is new, is developing. I invented it so that everybody can actually benefit. If we have our own facility, this turns into a rehab. How do we rehabilitate? Our facility needs to have farms around. If your child is with us for 6 months, then they need to have a skill of farming. They need to have a skill of dancing. They need to have a skill. We're going to, according to how their capabilities and according to their field, according to their talent, we are going to mentor them how to start a business, how to become a best actor. We have cameras. We can shoot films. We can bring a message. We can, get empowered. Eswatini TV, we need to stand together.
Collaborations.
We need collaborations.
Of course.
We have plans on how to bring the economy of this country forward, but we need their help.
When is the next boot camp, Motlo?
What is?
When is the next boot camp?
The next boot is on the 22nd of April.
22nd of April?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's ending on the 20th.
Labangafisa kuba part of the boot camp, Makanya. Batali bayeva lokho ukuthi nishinjile bayashinja abantwana labangafisa kuba part of the boot camp banganthola kuphi
abangasithola kuleti nombolo lengitatibita Mr Perez noma ke basithole phinze emakhasini ethu ka Facebook nakhona ka TikTok siyatholakala at Rising Stars Generation Eswatini noma Rising Stars Generation. Then tinombolo labangasithola kito it's +268 79082984 noma bashayele +268 79606266 noma ke baphindze bangasithumelela ne-email ku eswatini.risingstarsgeneration@gmail.com.
Siyabonga kakhulu Makhanya. Prince Motlo, thank you so much for coming through, my brother, and we wish you all the best. This is such a noble activity and a noble task, an undertaking that you are doing, not only for the Kingdom of Eswatini, but for people even across social media, you know, where people are getting inspired by what you do. And we really pray God keeps you and gives you more ideas, more grace and wisdom to sustain what you are doing. Thank you so much for coming through today.
Thank you so much, Perez. It is a pleasure.
It is former President of the United States of America, Theodore Roosevelt, who said, "To educate a man in mind only and not in morals is to educate a menace in society," which is why we applaud what these people are doing here, because they are reinstilling important values and morals into the young generation, which we need, and not just thinking that because we have taken them to school, to class, we've given them the best, but perhaps because of the lack of morals, which is why we have a lot of gangsterism. We have a lot of people menacing our adults and other fellow young people in our society. Libito lami ngingiJohn ngakaphireza sibongo Jehova kasigcine sibonane ngalokudala kusiphilile. Nisale kahle.